All right. Hello, everyone. We are going to get started now. Welcome to Offsite's third commencement ceremony. Can I get a thumbs up if you can hear me and if everything is going great? I want to make sure that this is not a disaster. So awesome. A lot of thumbs up. Fantastic. Thank you so much for being here. We couldn't have done this without your help, the students, our mentors, our sponsors, our educators, and everyone who's been supporting us from day one. Offsite was created to help evolve design education. And as a collective, we know that having an industrial design degree is no longer sufficient to stand out as a designer, and that you must supplement your knowledge of industrial design with other disciplines like business, marketing, design research, CMF, manufacturing, and you're able to have discourse around these topics in design and able to articulate your viewpoint. This is why we're proudest to surround you with multidisciplinary instructors who do this for a living, who can help you succeed, because your success is our success. You are a reflection of us, and we take that very seriously. Today, we aren't just here to celebrate our summer cohort, but also our evolution as a program. Exactly 1 year ago, we launched the first cohort, the Offsite Fall of 2020, and we want to celebrate our alumni as well, who came to us for guidance, and we helped them level up. It's been about a year now since those students have since left Offsite to go and pursue their dreams to be an industrial designer. So those students are now growing, evolving, and hopefully changing the world one step at a time. So congratulations to our alumni who have transitioned into industry by proving themselves and applying what you've learned in Offsite. We're very excited for future alumni to continue this success, and very excited to continue helping you beyond the 12 weeks that you invested yourself in. I can't thank enough our mentors. Without you, we have this void. Offsite is, the way that I see it, is more of a co-parenting. We need help from sponsors, mentors, advisors, instructors. There's a lot of stakeholders who are involved and have an invested interest in your success. And to that, I can't thank you enough. We're going to kick things off by having our instructors give you some words of wisdom as you leave Offsite and enter the real world. Our first instructor is Rotimi Shalola, who teaches sketching this past summer, and I'll give the floor over to Rotimi. So Rotimi, whenever you're ready.
Okay, thank you. Cool. I kind of, I forgot. I wasn't sure I'd be first, but very good. Let's jump right into it because I only have a couple of minutes. First of all, welcome. It's good that you're here. But I just want to make sure this is very clear. This is, because this is Offsite, it's a little bit different than, your standard sort of college education, right? So this is sort of a graduating, cohort, but it's not like the end of anything, right? This is just kind of a milestone. It's a marker. So many of you find yourself in this room or in this virtual room for a variety of reasons. You might have tapped into Offsite for a auxiliary education, something that's in addition to an existing education, or maybe an introduction to some new skills, maybe a new opportunity. Maybe you're going to be transitioning from your current career or your current line of schooling, or perhaps this was a sampler for you to taste and learn some new things. I want you to think about what this was for you and why you're here. And if this was something for you that means a new opportunity, a new education, or even a new job, right? I want you to make sure that you hold yourself up to the highest expectations that you can, because that's one thing that we can't teach. We can teach many different skills, but we can't teach how you view your own work and how you hold yourself to your own standards. Okay, if you do everything that you're asked to do from your instructors or whatever, you're coasting. Okay, yeah, strange, I know, but I'm gonna say it again. If you do everything that you're asked to do, you're coasting. If you want to excel, you have to do more than just coast. You have to be proactive, and you have to work as hard as you possibly can. Okay. Push yourself to stack your experiences as much as possible, and you're already doing that. Program like Offsite is great because you're able to do it alongside your working, your schooling, your education, all of that type of thing. And so the more that you're able to stack your experiencing, your schooling, maybe YouTube education, learning online, mentorships, competitions, jobs and internships, the more you're able to stack, the quicker that you're going to accelerate your education, right? There is no shortcuts, we all know that, but by stacking your experiences, you can dramatically reduce the amount of time that it's going to take you to achieve success. And it's important that I say it's got to be your own vision of success and not the same as society will have you believe with money and fame and all of that. It needs to be your own vision of success. So before I ramble on, I think I'm gonna just kind of stop there. I really just want to stress the point that you will have to continue to be as proactive in your education as possible and hold yourself up to the highest standards that you can. Let's not make any excuses for ourselves. There'll always be stuff to do to take you away from it, and that's fine. Let's just keep pushing and keep pushing yourselves. And you have a community now of people, including myself and the other instructors, that you can continue to reach out to for support, and we'll always be there to support you. But you are walking this journey. We can't do it for you. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Rotimi. We appreciate your words. The next instructor that I like to call on is Zach Hafner, who taught digital tools, and he was part of our cohort number 1 pool of instructors. So Zach, if you are there, I'd love to have you come forward. And for those who are watching before Zach comes on, as you can see, the notifications that I'm getting up on top, everyone wants to be part of your commencement. So get very excited for that. So if you see that notification, my apologies. But Zach, please.
Yeah, thanks, Hector. So I just wanted to start off and say congratulations to all of you. Like Hector said, I taught for cohort 1, but I think my congratulations obviously extends to both cohorts. I know there's a lot of great work that was happening, and it was exciting to see from kind of my presence in the Slack channels and poking around at the different things, the great work that was happening. And from my perspective, it's been a wonderful summer so far, teaching all of you, seeing the huge development, and kind of this goes across the talent to the creativity and personality that has developed over these weeks. But I wanted to take some time and give some perspective as you're kind of continuing your education and your career journeys to kind of discuss this work-life balance that I think comes up a lot. And it's something that I think is starting to get the attention and focus that it deserves, but everybody has a different balance point. And I think it's important to acknowledge the benefits to your creativity, your motivation, and of course, your overall mental health as you're kind of going into this design field. To be fully present during work means you need time away to reflect, unwind, and just do something else. I think we can all give ourselves permission during all of the stuff that's happened over the past 1.5 to 2 years, kind of in the short term, but also just as you're growing and developing, just give yourselves permission to like spend a whole night watching a series as it's released, wherever that might be. I'm talking about La Casa de Papel, if anybody's kind of looking for a new show there. The other thing, just completely shut down your devices when it's time for a vacation. It's great to just shut everything off, completely disconnect, and just kind of be present in whatever you're doing outside of work. And part of that is making it difficult, because design is more than just a job for most of us. It's a passion and something that can be extremely rewarding, but you don't need to sacrifice your mental health to have a seat at the table. I think expectations, internal and external, kind of change as you progress through your careers. And I just want everybody to know that your time away from work is just as valuable and necessary as anybody else that you might come across. It's very important to kind of take time for yourself to kind of grow, develop, and process everything. And with all of that said, I also want you to know that the time away doesn't need a secondary objective to be worthwhile. I could say that you have to take time away to recharge and focus and get inspired and do things, but we are all people. And I think we just need time to be present and to just completely let things go and kind of focus on whatever you're doing at that moment. With all of that said, again, I hope to see all of you active in the Slack channels and stay connected as we kind of go through all this stuff over the years. And from now on, I don't expect to see anybody just disappear. So that's not a good excuse. We're all still here and looking forward to seeing the great things that all of you accomplish and your journeys in development going forward. So with that, I'll hand it back to Hector.
Thank you so much, Zach. Really appreciate that. Our next instructor is Jack Marble, and Jack is an awesome designer and human who joined us for the summer cohort number 2, and joined us for the product viz class along with Tyler Anderson. So Jack, would love to hear a little bit about your words of wisdom.
Yeah. First of all, thanks Hector, and congratulations to everybody who's made it this to the end. You've made it, and you've invested this time in yourselves, and I think it's going to really pay off in your careers. And so today I wanted to just leave you a couple words of wisdom around the idea of play, and play in kind of a professional environment. So if we go back to kind of when everyone was kids, you're kind of fresh, new on the scene, and you didn't really know how anything worked or how to do hardly anything. And the way that kids learn is through play, is through kind of playing with different things, experimenting, asking questions, putting things together, making mistakes, and then kind of learning from all of those different inputs and then growing. So what I would kind of exhort you to do is to not grow up. In this career, you've kind of got this really unique opportunity to continue with this childlike mindset of asking questions and showing up and tearing things apart and putting things back together. And I feel like I've had some of my best ideas where I'm just like in a room messing around with stuff, and then you're kind of like, oh, you start to connect some dots, and that all comes through kind of this loose play and learning through play. So yeah, I'd exhort you to keep that childlike wonder, keep asking questions, keep pushing, keep being a kid, keep being hungry and wanting to learn more and more. And when you get thrown into a project in an industry that you know nothing about, really just step back and be like, well, just start to play around with things, and you'll figure it out, because that's what you did when you were a kid. So rely on that, and remember that design should be fun. It should really be a fun thing that you can do, and this is like the best career that you can have. And sometimes I wake up in the morning and I'm like, wow, I can't believe I get paid to do this. And so try to hold on to that sentiment as you go through your career. So yeah, that's my words of wisdom to leave with you guys.
Thank you so much, Jack. Really appreciate that. And our last instructor, who's going to give you some parting words, is Rebecca Goslin, who joined us for cohort number 1, and her class is color and form. So we're very excited to have her be part of our collective of instructors. Becca, the floor is yours.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Hopefully you can hear me okay. It's a little loud over here. One of you recently told me that you had this unsettling fear that the future would not be okay prior to joining Offsite. I just want to say I totally get that. We're all facing some really tough times, both on a personal and global scale. But hopefully, as you know now, everything is cyclical. Hard times have come and gone before, but thanks to people like you, humanity is continuing to emerge more compassionate, successful, and optimistic each and every time. It would have been really easy for you to turn a blind eye to this year, but instead, all of you chose to face the world head on. Starting this program was kind of an act of bravery in itself. Investing in the future is a really optimistic thing to do. After months of honing your technical prowess and expanding your critical thinking, you're not only brave, you're skillful and empowered too, which is an undeniably dangerous combination if you ask me. That power does come with responsibility though. Your job from here is not to use these skills as a form of manipulation to profit off of those less visionary than you, though I do hope you make a living with your newfound passion and knowledge. Your job from here is to really just build a world that's better than the one that you're seeing today. A world that's really grounded in honest human needs and desires, one that's supportive of someone's functional needs and their emotional ones as well. A world where turtle-esque cameras are saving the ocean, streetwear is protecting the identities of photojournalists, and super blissed out palettes are turning ephemeral moments into concrete experiences, and all of the other incredible things that you're going to envision. It's really natural to worry about the future, but the reality is it's whatever you're going to make of it. Never lose sight of the power that you hold to change the world. My greatest hope for you leaving here is that you never lose hope in yourself or in humanity. So I just want to end by thanking all of you for giving me the chance to work with you and to learn with you. And congratulations on all you've done so far. I can't wait to see what you do in the future. From the looks of it, it is going to be amazing. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Becca. And with that, Becca is our new Offsite spokesperson. Just amazing. She's just a very, she's a great storyteller and her class is amazing. And for those who were her students, I envy you because she is a very powerful speaker. So thank you, Becca, so much. Today, when we started building this program, we wanted to focus on the human element of design, the experience. We wanted to give our students the best design education possible. So we created this wonderful platform. We put together classes, we built the curriculum, but we had no idea how amazing this community would flourish just organically with your help, with the students who you know, were natural leaders who stepped forward and said, you know, I want this, I want that, and questioned the things that we taught you. And in that sense, that is truly what design education should be. You know, not being told what to do, but questioning what we teach you, why we teach you, and how we teach you. You created a family, you created this culture, you know, this studio environment that we call Offsite. And I'm very excited to have you hear from a couple of our student speakers as they will talk about their experience with Offsite this summer. So with that being said, I'd like to introduce our student speakers. We have Lena and Amelia, who will be representing cohort number 1, and Joanna, who will be representing cohort number 2. So I'm going to have Lena go first. And Lena, if you are present, you can come forward, and there you go.
Hi, everyone. My name is Lena, and I was part of cohort 1, and I also took 2 classes in cohort 2. Just couldn't get enough. And I'm going to chat a little bit about my background before Offsite and then kind of where I'm at now. So this was me a year ago. I was feeling really lost and unmotivated at my job. I was working in residential interior design, and despite the fact that I had always loved interior design since I was a little kid, I felt really stuck and uninspired in my position. And I thought the best way to remedy this issue was to pick a new path and do a complete 180 and stick to it. Even if I didn't necessarily know it was the right path, I just kind of wanted to pick something new. I'd gone to a liberal arts college studying a little bit of everything, and I didn't feel like I had the hard skills to transition into a new career. So I thought, okay, they're switching. Sorry, the slides were laggy. I thought that the only way to this new career change was returning to school and specializing in something super niche. I had always loved sports and I'd always loved being outside. And so I figured the best way to combine those things were to think about products and outdoor activities and reframe my perspective of industrial design and return to the classroom setting. So I applied to grad school for sports product design. And this past spring, I really thought that that's what I was going to do. But as the idea loomed closer and closer, I realized that I wasn't 100% sure that this was the right path. And that was really scary. I was about to move across the country and spend a bunch of money developing skills in a career that I wasn't 100% sure that I wanted to pursue. And that's kind of where Offsite comes in. What I really needed was a buffet of options and a chance to apply various design skills in a real world environment, and to test out projects with a community that would buoy me through this phase of exploration. Offsite made me realize that I didn't need to pick one set path. Instead, it has given me the space to test out a plethora of projects and develop new skills and meet an entire group of people doing just that. The work we do at Offsite isn't graded, so it's not about getting an A. Each assignment that we are tasked with is an opportunity to grow on a personal level and discover something new about ourselves. Throughout Offsite, I've realized that it's okay to give myself time and space to test out something new before diving headfirst into the unknown. It's normal to try and to fail, and to try again and again. Life is not always a series of set paths. It's about growing holistically, not vertically. And Offsite has made me really brave. It's equipped me with the confidence to explore my own path for this next stage of life instead of going to grad school. Offsite is also completely reframing what continuing education can look like, and I am so grateful because of this. I'm gonna pass the presentation over to Amelia, who's my friend from cohort 1, and she's gonna continue discussing the groundbreaking structure that Offsite provides. Thank you all.
Done. Amazing job, Lena. Thank you. I agree with everything you said. Okay, so can you guys hear me? Yeah, okay. So I'm Amelia, and I'm going to be talking just about cohort 1. So I want to give you just a little bit of background about myself. Prior to Offsite, I was working at a company called Artsy, which is an art tech startup. And after 4 years, kind of similar to Lena, I found myself in a job that I really didn't like. I was pretty miserable and my confidence was at an all-time low. And after a lot of deliberation and self-reflection, I kind of bit the bullet and decided to leave in the hopes that I would be able to find something more creative. And luckily, I was on a walk with my friend Lena right before leaving Artsy, and she asked me if I had heard of Offsite. I had not. I also had no idea what industrial design was, but I had a pretty clean slate in front of me, and I figured that some structure would be good for me as I kind of embarked into this journey of the unknown. So I applied, and I can say with so much sincerity and gratefulness that I am so happy I did Offsite, because it has made an incredible impact on my life. And I think it's really served as a catalyst for a new chapter that I'm really excited about. And there are a lot of reasons for that, but the one that I want to talk about today is the ways in which Offsite, sorry, this is not moving, but the ways in which Offsite is creating a new frontier in education. I have always felt most at home being a student. And because of that, I've really gone down the rabbit hole of continuing ed. And I've always left feeling pretty unsatisfied, not only because the programs were prohibitively expensive, but I found the teaching to be pretty mediocre and that it was hard to connect with my instructors and my classmates. And I just always left feeling like, ugh, that wasn't even worth it. I'm not inspired. But Offsite is so different. Offsite is actually affordable, it's accessible, and it's flexible. And I really believe that you guys are setting the bar for what global contemporary education can look like. And that's because Offsite really understands on a deep level what the needs are of a modern student in 2021. Offsite is really for everyone and anyone who is curious enough to try it. You can be unemployed, you can be working, you can be retired. But as long as you want to see what something new looks like or a new discipline is, you can do it. You can log on in real time or watch the recordings. And I believe that's because Offsite is really based in community in the sense that knowledge sharing is really powerful. And so I think my biggest takeaway from Offsite is that education is something that sparks imagination and innovation and really helps you understand how to see the world in a new way. And that's what I've taken from this program. And so I hope that not only will Offsite as a design program grow, but that we will soon see lots of different offsites in every discipline, from sustainability and science to global health, and whatever else there is, to help people understand that they have the capacity to be part of a discipline and to create positive change in our world. And with that, I'm going to pass it on to Joanna.
Hello, thank you, Amelia, for handing off to me. So hi everyone, my name is Joanna, and I'm excited to talk about my experience these 12 weeks in cohort 2. So how did I get here? After graduating and applying to jobs with little success, I had struggled identifying weaknesses in my portfolio. And so actually on LinkedIn, I saw that Dylan, an underclassman from my college, was enrolled in a program called Offsite. And when I learned more about Offsite, I knew I wanted to apply when the applications opened. I saw Offsite as an opportunity to face my weaknesses. And as we worked through these 12 weeks, I realized that everything came down to one thing, and it was actually storytelling. So through Offsite, I saw the power of storytelling. All the classes worked together to fortify our skills as designers, push our thinking, and made professional design world more approachable. With Michael's business class, we got to look under the hood of what makes a business. With Spencer's class, helped us look within ourselves to determine our life goals and provide ways to communicate in the form of discourse and critiques. And with Dom's class, manufacturing, he gave us knowledge of manufacturing methods and various materials available to us as designers. And actually, we discovered as a cohort how much we love paper and recycling, which is interesting. So Jack and Tyler's visualization class provided us tools to communicate the product's features in an aesthetic way using 3D rendering. And Kelly's class provided us frameworks to understanding what sketching in the real world is like. Again, with Kelly's class, she showed us various ways to sketch and tell a story, and demonstrated methods that designers communicate with and to show the big why of designs. Meg's research class demonstrated how to form an impactful story in order to motivate designers. These presentations to clients and designers distilled large amounts of data in order to hone in on specific findings. And Kat's professional self-presentation class helped us look into ourselves to see what differentiates us from others. In addition, the critique sessions allowed students to receive feedback on how to strengthen the case study storytelling. With all the powers combined over the past 12 weeks, we were handed various tools and outlooks in order to become a better designer and to help tell our stories even better. Aside from the coursework, the instructors and advanced design team built a great environment to foster an amazing community. So here are some thoughts and feelings summarized in a word cloud that stuck with our summer cohort. I'm so thankful for the community of resilient students. Our retention rate was amazing from week 1 to week 12. And major props go out to everyone who chose to give up their summers to level up. Our cohort ranged from students to graduates to freelancers, full-time employees, engineers, and more. Students come in from all around the world and even worked through the night to attend our lectures. And even though we're not able to physically meet, I feel close to the people that I was able to connect with over the summer. And I hope that someday we'll be able to meet in person. But until then, we just have this group photo for now. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Joanna. All right. Thank you to all the students who presented. That was amazing. We're very excited for you to continue being ambassadors of our brand and continue talking about your experiences with Offsite. So our next speakers, because we are celebrating 1 year of Offsite, we are excited to bring back alumni from our very first cohort. This is really full circle here. And our first commencement speaker is Rebecca Kay. A little bit about Rebecca is she's an industrial designer based in San Francisco, currently working at Box Clever. And she is a graduate of Long Beach State University with a degree in industrial design, and also attended the first Offsite cohort in fall of 2020. So Becca, if you are there, please come forward and share a little bit about your design world.
Sure. Thanks, Hector. I will share my screen now. Sorry, 1 moment. Awesome. So thanks everyone for this amazing commencement. Super honored and excited to share with you guys today. So when I was asked to share something today, I was really compelled to reflect a little bit on the past year or so, and kind of my experiences through that. I know the last year has been a struggling time for pretty much everyone, myself included. And, there was a global pandemic. I was a recent grad, looking for a job, working on my portfolio for what felt like the 100th time. And really, I was feeling isolated, burnt out, and stagnant, really like I was just in an echo chamber, throwing myself and my work into this endless void. And in hindsight, what I was really craving was connection. So that's kind of what I wanted to talk about today, was the importance of connection and kind of my personal experience throughout it. So the first thing I wanted to talk about was reaching out, which personally is definitely scary. And even though the worst case scenario is never hearing back from someone, if we're being honest, that still kind of hurts. So that's definitely something to confront throughout this. But over the pandemic, amazingly, so many communities, Offsite included, as well as events and challenges have become more and more accessible and popular throughout the internet. So those are amazing opportunities. I think just kind of through my experience, a few things to think about is when you're reaching out, when you're networking, don't ask for, ask about. So I think everyone knows this, but do not ask strangers for a job. 90% of the time, that is not a good move. And really just ask about them. This kind of leads into number 2, but be genuinely curious. A lot of people, they really love to talk about themselves and their passions, and use that love to lure them into conversation, and really invest in them before you expect them to invest in you. And then also beyond that, reflect a little bit about yourself and your personal goals, because conversation is a two-way street, and at some point it's going to be your turn. And the more genuine and honest you are with what you're offering, you're inviting other people to reciprocate and reflect accordingly. The next thing I wanted to talk about was feedback. So, you've reached out, you've planted that seed, and now it's time to nurture the heck out of that relationship. So, definitely don't be afraid to ask questions. I feel like that's pretty universal. Even if you ask like a wrong or like stupid question, you've learned something and are further along now than you were before you asked that question. And also don't be afraid to ask multiple people. Like people have mentioned in this commencement before, like I was working on my portfolio during the pandemic by myself, which was a mistake. And definitely the more eyes and ears you can get to your work, to your questions, the better. And then once you have all those opinions, all that feedback, you can start to sift and organize through the lens of relevance. So like really taking into account context of what that person does. Is that a field you want to go into? How much experience do they have? And then organize accordingly, because a lot of the times you'll get conflicting opinions and you'll kind of just have to make that executive decision yourself. And the last thing I wanted to share was branching out, which sounds a little dramatic, but what I really just mean is that, industrial designers, we get super hyper focused sometimes. It's all about that like sweet chamfer or that amazing touch point. But there's a lot more out there in the world than industrial design. And it's really important to kind of branch out and connect with other things. So, industrial design isn't the center of the world. I'm definitely guilty of this, where I get in my little bubble of like really cool ideas, and then I talk to real people and they could not care less. Like design is not the main character of their life. They are. And it's super important for us as designers to never lose sight of that. Also, there's a lot of really great inspiration outside of industrial design, places like museums or libraries, or even like going outside is a great time. And it's a great respite from kind of the monotonous, no harsh to lemonouche, but I think we all go there, right? And just like having a more diverse perspective of the world. And I think it's also important to give yourself a little break. Industrial design is amazing. And I think it's definitely a passion for all of us, but it's also important that it's not our entire life. It's important to get out there, do different things. So yeah, just to summarize a little bit about connecting, reaching out, having feedback, and branching out as well into other things. And the great thing is that all of you students have already participated in this by being part of Offsite. You guys made the decision to participate in Offsite. No one was forcing you to. And I think hopefully by now you've all realized you have an amazing community at your hands, and all these people that you can rely on to ask questions, ask to look at your portfolio, ask about workplace expectations. And that's such an amazing gift. And that's super encouraging that, you all have already made this decision, and hopefully you can continue to do that throughout the rest of your careers. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Becca. Amazing words. I couldn't agree more. I think all of you have to go out and go and experience the world, travel, get cultured, and just learn how to become a better human so that you become a better designer. So, Becca, thank you so much for those wonderful words. I'm going to ask for our next commencement speaker to come forward, Josh Delphin, who's also from cohort number 1, fall of 2020. A little bit about Josh is he's a Filipino-Canadian designer who is currently working as an industrial designer for Lululemon in Vancouver, Canada. He holds a bachelor's degree in industrial design and is an alumni of Offsite from fall of 2020. Josh also, before he joined Offsite, and I'm sure he can tell you the story, was on the fence of dropping out of, industrial design and going into UX and other things. And I think his story is extremely insightful and very powerful and moving, and very honored to have invited Josh to come and share his experience with Offsite. So Josh, if you are there.
All right. Thanks, Hector, for the quick intro. Let me just put this on full screen. Yeah, hello. First of all, thank you, Offsite members and committee, for letting me speak in front of everyone today. A huge congratulations to Summer 2021 cohort. This is the right step and an amazing step to take to get into this industry. So I'm happy you guys are here. Just like Hector said, my name is Josh, and I'm an Offsite alumni from fall 2020, and I'm currently working as an industrial designer at Lululemon in Vancouver, Canada. And this quick talk is about just how I went from being a fresh grad, kind of jobless, and all that stuff, to becoming a professional industrial designer and all the ups and downs in between. So I hope some of you will find this very beneficial, or the least bit beneficial. Start from the very beginning. I graduated from a program in Edmonton, Canada, Alberta. So I always felt like I was detached from design events domestically, since there are only quite a few hotspots within Canada, either from really west side or really east side, east coast or west coast. So Offsite to me was a very big step on kind of opening my eyes on how big the design scene really is, not just within Canada, but also globally. Really what it did for me was open global opportunities, gain new mentors, and it ultimately gave me direction, a bit more hope, being in that transitioning phase of jobless to getting a job. And there are three things that I did mainly that I think have benefited me a lot into making that transition. And that's number one, constant networking. Number two, having a relentless attitude, never giving up and keeping pushing myself forward. And the third, but not the least, is not being afraid of asking, for portfolio reviews, advice, mentorship, all that good stuff. And I know this process can feel like it's endless. It can be very discouraging, doing your portfolios, redoing them and revising them and having someone look over them and having to redo it again. Just a cycle of almost, it feels like it's endless, and having no replies from the jobs that you applied for. And then when they do reply, it's rejection. So I was in that position, and it can definitely feel like it's hopeless and endless. But know that your attempts lead to an opportunity, and the more times you try, the higher this chances will be. And that to me was the gift of mentorship. This is just a quick blurb of me in LinkedIn, sliding into my current, my life, probably gonna be my lifetime mentor's DMs, and just asking him like how, if he can look over my portfolio and how I can strengthen it to get into Lululemon. At the time, this person worked at Lululemon, so he was gracious enough to give me his time and his expertise. And yeah, eventually that led into Lululemon. And don't get me wrong, I was applying to hundreds of jobs globally. I was trying to get out of Canada's winter. So I was trying, and it just so turned out that Lululemon was the first place that ever said yes to me. And even then, I had to fail one time, I had to apply twice to even get in. So having that relentless attitude definitely played a huge part. I could have just given up, but whenever that opportunity came, just be ready to apply. So back to the three things. Networking led me to a mentor. That relentless attitude opened up doors for me, and not being afraid of asking led me to some great feedback from my mentors and gave me those little nuggets of gold that really upped my mentality when it comes to the world of design and how I can approach it. And yeah, I hope some of you can find this beneficial, but that's my short TED Talk.
All right. Thank you so much, Josh. Really appreciate it. All right. So our keynote speaker for today is someone that I truly look up to. She's an amazing leader in the design community, and we need more people like her to really step up and be selfless. I'd like to introduce you to Nicole Rulak of Level. She is the founder and creative director at Level. She has a deep experience taking complex new technologies and shaping them into forms that foster emotional connections between consumers and brands. Nicole's expertise in manufacturing means production feasibility is considered from day one, and her minimalistic approach leads to timeless designs that delight users and live seamlessly in their environments. Nicole, thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate your insights, and I'm going to give the floor over to Nicole now.
Thank you, Hector, and to everyone at Offsite for having me here today. It's such an honor to get to hear all of your stories and see all of these graduates and new talents coming into the design world. I'm going to start sharing my screen just a second. Everyone can see?
Perfect.
Great. So yeah, this is a big milestone for everyone. You've just spent the last 12 weeks, on the building blocks of the future of your careers, and you should be just so proud of yourself. These are hard times, what the world has been going through, and to get yourself up every day and get that enthusiasm. To not let what's happening bring you down, but know that there's a future past this, and that, taking the energy and the courage to join Offsite and to really hone in on your skills and to take this time to do something meaningful, something impactful that's going to help your future and hopefully the future of humanity. You should be so proud and so grateful that something like Offset exists, especially in this time, using the future of technology to bring together the people in new ways and educate people in new ways. We're so inspired by what the team at Offsite is doing and all of you students there. Just jump in with a little bit of background about me. So Nicole and I started a studio in San Francisco called Level Design, and we've, just as Offsite is approaching the 1-year birthday, Level is just about to turn 5 years old. So we've gotten through some really challenging times all together, and this is just kind of a look at my leadership team, a really small team. We are just 8 people here in San Francisco. And this is what it looks like when we're in the studio together, and I miss all these folks very much. But as you have learned to work and educate through the screen, so have we. But I'm really proud of this, like our small boutique team and the kind of work that we do, because beyond design, I've also been very driven to work towards having greater diversity in our industry. As some of you may have been a part of the Women in Design programs that I ran in San Francisco, but I spent 4 years as the chair, Women in Design, bringing up about mentorship programs and really trying to be an activist for creating a better future beyond just the products that we build here at Level. I'm going to start with a little quote from somebody who has inspired me really outside of the world of design, but Ruth Bader Ginsburg, the former justice in the Supreme Court, is somebody who I've always looked up to, even love to read books about her to my daughter to inspire a woman who has just done so much for the greater good of humanity and diversity. And this quote that she said that I thought was really fitting for speaking to this next generation of designers, that we should not be held back from pursuing our talents or for contributing what we could contribute to the society because we fit into a certain mold. And I really wanted to bring this up because sort of the mold that I fit into as a designer, and when I started my career and then when I started my studio, I didn't necessarily feel like I was the perfect fit to be kind of creating a world-class design agency. You know, I didn't come from a family that had a lot of money. I definitely didn't come from a creative background. I came from a small town, actually outside of Chicago. So I've met Hector and some of the team back in Chicago when I was visiting before. But yeah, like an hour right on the edges of the cornfields, where nobody there seemed to know anything about design. So I didn't have the kind of upbringing that would naturally kind of get me into a successful career in design. But you know, that didn't matter. And I think what really matters, hold on, I'm not able to skip to the next slide. What really matters is just finding your passion and going for it and believing in yourself. All right, so take it from me and my personal experience is that you get to choose your own destiny. You know, I grew up in a family who didn't understand that design was a career. My parents were so adamantly opposed to me going into this field. They considered art a hobby and didn't really understand the difference between art and design. But I kind of, since I was an early child, like I was born a creative, and all I did all day was make things and draw. And so I knew that, and I knew that in myself, what I was meant to do, and sort of just threw caution to the wind and decided to move to California and follow my dreams with very little money and just the desire to believe in myself and become what I wanted to be. So I want each and every one of you to know, you know, if you're not in a job that you really love, or you're not, you know, sure if you can make it in this world, it really comes down to passion and following that opportunity and just being relentless and persistent. And you can follow your dreams and you can make it in this world. So just believe in yourself. And also, you know, if you do stand out from the crowd of what you see as sort of fitting into the mold of a designer, just embrace what is unique about yourself. Just really know yourself and discover, you know, what makes you special, and celebrate that and sell that in your portfolio, because you will find the place that makes you happy. It is out there, and I will tell you, it took me years to find that path too, but it's absolutely possible. And I just want to inspire and encourage everyone and let you know that I think it's important at this crucial turning point in your career to find yourself on the right path. I really strongly believe that the environment that you find yourself in is going to be everything and can really set yourself up for the, you know, the right trajectory in your career, and that is super crucial. So as you're going out there and interviewing and talking to various companies, really get behind the curtain and understand who at those firms or at those companies, who you would be looking up to and learning from and teaching you. After having spent my career at a number of different agencies and even in some corporations, I've learned that there's so much value, so much more than just the work that those studios are producing. It's so much about the people that are going to be guiding you and the people that are going to be teaching you, making sure that you're in a nurturing place where you can really plant those roots and see yourself sprout. But if you're not in fertile soil, then you're not going to get that foundation that you really need in order to bloom and really become, you know, the best designer and the best person that you can be. So I encourage you, beyond just going in and talking to people in an interview, if you can have even a virtual coffee with some of the younger designers and the team that's there, to really understand what is the atmosphere like there, you know, what are the values of the team? Do they just treat everyone like slaves, and, you know, not have respect for the human qualities? Or, you know, what I try to do at Level and what I've learned at some of the greater places I worked in my career is like having leadership that's really nurturing, that really cares about the people on the team. You create great products together because you're in an environment where people actually really enjoy to be around each other and take good care of each other. So I encourage you to really look at those opportunities and not just the products that's coming out of the places that you're looking. I say that it's important to live life with no regrets. It's actually how I got here and how I started a studio. It's been my goal for as long as I can remember to not have to look back in the past and wonder if I should have tried that thing or taken that opportunity. I never wanted to have that fear that, that I didn't take a risk, or, that I didn't believe in myself. This is your opportunity to build the future that you want to be a part of. And yeah, it was super scary when I quit my, a steady paycheck job at a good, what people would consider, a good design career, and started my own agency. It was the same when I moved to California. I had a pretty comfortable life, but I decided that I wanted to see where the world could take me and really take a chance on myself. It's definitely scary, and it's not easy doing those things, moving far away from your family or just starting an agency from scratch. But really, the most value and the kind of the most rewarding things that I've experienced in my career and my life really came from when I was willing to take on that risk and not be afraid, and doing what I feel is good and right. And the same thing will come up as you're designing products throughout your career. I think it's important to know what's good and not be afraid to try, and not be afraid to speak up. There will be times where you really question clients or your bosses. And I think as a young designer, I was often too afraid to step out of line or to ruffle someone's feathers. But as I've grown older and more experienced in my career, I really start to learn what is right from wrong. And these days, that's especially important in the environmental impacts of the products that we design. So I question clients, and I'm willing to take that chance. And they may not like it when I poke at them for choosing bad materials, or making calls that I think are not in support of the environment. But I feel it's important to use your voice to do what you believe and to know what is important, because the earth and the future of humanity really needs us as designers to question what's right and wrong. And as a mother and a design leader, I feel more than anything, it is important to do work that matters. So as you are stepping into these next stages in your career, really looking and reflecting in your heart about how you want to contribute to this world. And I hope that all of you are seeing that the times that the world is in, we need designers that are going to do work that's going to make a difference and do better for society. There's so much that has gone wrong and things that are, going in the wrong direction. And designers have the chance to really solve huge world problems and really change things for the better. So please don't just take these skills and make technology for the sake of technology, or more things that are going to end up in the landfills. Please use your skills and your creative energies and put your minds to something good. And I say this as a mom because I hear my daughter come home and tell me stories about the plastic that's filling up in the oceans. And it really saddens me. And designers, it's hard because you're faced with the challenge of what you love to do and what you're good at naturally is making something that's physical. And how can we make sure that we're doing as least damage as possible, or also making sure that if we are going to put something into this world, that it's really going to help people, that it's going to contribute to saving somebody's life or making better health and wellness for society. Because, and when you can contribute to work like that and really commit to what you see as a value as a designer, is helping people and solving problems, you realize that like that is where designers can do good and really bring good to the world. It's that human value that matters. It's not so much the stock value or the money or the awards, but it's really like how do we make a difference for people, and how do we use what our knowledge and the skills that you've been building to do something that's really honorable and that you're going to look back in your career and really be proud of. And then I will say, I hope COVID has given everybody some benefits in the time that we've had to reflect and really look at what matters in this world. And I know for myself, that has been a crucial part of what I've tried to take from this time, and look at how we define success. I think having spent my entire career in and around Silicon Valley, where there's a sort of a typical mindset that you need to keep growing and producing, and you need to sort of prove that you're successful to people by how how many things that you're making, and how fast your company is growing. And I really stopped and reflected and said, you know what, that's not what I want. That's not, my mission and my vision of what success is. I keep my team small. The reason why we're only 8 people isn't because I couldn't grow more. It's just because I have decided to turn away clients that I don't think are working on good causes, and to keep my team small so that I walk into the doors of my office or into our virtual reviews. And, I know everybody and it feels like a family. I walk into work and I love the environment that I'm in and the people that I'm around and the clients that we're creating work with and the impact that we're getting to work on products that help people with disabilities, to help save people's lives with heart conditions, to get people, looking and being more active and healthy and wellness. So I really can actually, by keeping things small, that's how I've defined my own success, is that I'm also able to spend time with my family and be a good mom, and also take care of my team as much as possible. So I want you to reflect on, what is success mean to you? And to me, it's about a quality of life and the quality of the type of work that I do, rather than being too stressed and stretched thin. So I hope that you can all find that path and that version of success for you, because for every person that's different. And I think it's good to have that open mind, that just, you don't have to look at somebody else's career path and say, oh, I need to be just like them. You can make that path whatever you want it to be. Just be yourself. And as Becca mentioned earlier, I think I also had a similar theme and reflection about life beyond design. I think it's so crucial to consider the aspects of being a good human. I know you've been working on your skills, and skills do matter for getting a job, but more than anything, I think what we look for when we hire is really about the person, because these are going to be people that you're going to be collaborating with, that you're going to be sharing experiences with. And so being a good human is what's going to help you to get the jobs, but also to get you recommendations and referrals later on, to create those human-to-human connections that is really going to boost you throughout your career. Because my agency really, and why I was able to quit my day job and bet on myself and start this firm, is because I had spent 15 years, building those connections with people. So all of my clients and the way that I've been getting work is just through the years and years that I've spent, being being a good designer, but also being a good person to be around. And so it's my former bosses and my former coworkers that I now have built my reputation on, and that is the path that's allowed me to get projects and to be successful as an agency. So really, don't burn any bridges and just make sure that you're taking care of people and the teams and the collaboration around you, because it'll make your career happier and it will make your future path to success much smoother. So beyond design also to me means looking outside and not just on La Manouche, as mentioned earlier, but making sure that you're open to exploring, putting yourself in uncomfortable environments. I know COVID's maybe already done enough of that for us, but I hope that you will learn to get away from the screen. We've all spent too much time behind the screens, but getting out there into the world, exploring and experiencing, absorbing things around you so that you can create the right mindset to be an amazing and successful designer in your future careers. So with that, I just want to say congratulations to all of you for the really hard work that you've been able to do, and through some of the most challenging times that I've experienced in my life. And I'm so great that you've taken the courage and taken the time to really invest in yourself through Offsite. And so excited to see all of you out there in the design world, and hope to meet in person someday. Please reach out if you're in San Francisco, and also send in your applications for internships.
Thank you so much, Nicole. We really appreciate your words of wisdom and your insights. And I hope everyone else did.
Thanks for having me, Hector.
Of course. Give me 1 second here, everyone. Let me just. All right. So as we start to wrap up our commencement ceremony, again, I'd like to thank you for joining us this afternoon for the third commencement ceremony. We're very excited for you to leave here with all these amazing skill sets, these awesome insights, and most importantly, a new education on design. I think everyone who spoke today really they go beyond design, just like how Nicole just mentioned. It's not enough to be a great sketcher, be a great designer. You have to go beyond that and be a good person, and be on time, do your bed, all that stuff, all that good healthy stuff. You have to be a well-rounded person to fit with a fantastic team like the great team that Nicole has at Level, and then go out and travel and experience the world, experience failure, and really reflect and understand why things work. So we're very excited for you to really take what you learned here with us at Offsite and then go and apply it to the real world, and really design things that matter, design things that are meaningful. To all of our mentors, thank you so much. It's because of you that our students are succeeding. It's because of your time that you've spent with our students, your advice, your insights. We really appreciate your time. It's something that, time is extremely valuable, and our students are benefiting from meeting with you. So we thank you for being selfless. Last but not least, we'd also like to thank our speakers, Rebecca Kay, Josh Delphin, and of course, Nicole. Our amazing, you're all amazing leaders in the community, and I personally look up to you, and I hope that students really benefited from your time being here with us. I also want to thank all of our instructors that have made Offsite a success. It is a lot of work. Offsite succeeds when we all succeed. It doesn't it doesn't fall on one's shoulders. It really relies on a whole community to come together and achieve something great. So thank you for Tiffany and Bethany, Betwell, Nino, Michelle, FIBA, so many people to thank for making Offsite an amazing success in the last year. Miranda, the list goes on and on. It really takes a whole group of people to make Offsite and give you the best experience possible. You're all ambassadors of our brand. Go out there and change the world, and come back and show us what you're doing. Tell us what you're doing, because Offsite will continue, and we would love to give you our platform to share your experiences about design. But before we let you go, there's a couple of things that we want to share with you. Number one, after this commencement, there's going to be a roundtable with about a dozen students from this summer. So if you want to stick around and ask them questions, talk to them on a more intimate level, hang out for 10 minutes after the end of this commencement, and you'll be able to talk to them. And we're probably going to hang out in that roundtable for half an hour or so. And before I let you go, we have one announcement that I would like for one of our instructors, Dom, to come forward and share this update with you all.
When you say come forward, it makes it sound like I'm supposed to like walk up, but I'll symbolically walk up. So hey everyone, again, congratulations to each of you. It's been probably a long, arduous 12 weeks for every cohort, especially just given the amount of information we've bombarded you with. But it's truly been a pleasure. And so one thing that we have that is kind of our first exciting development is we will be launching our first design competition in collaboration with Offsite this coming fall, which is open to all previous Offsite students. So if you're from one of our 3 cohorts, you are invited to participate. And our collaboration will be with a company called 30 Watt, which makes kind of unique giftable items. And this is pretty cool because one, you get to put all these skills that we talked about throughout Offsite into practice, basically. So that involves things like research, sketching, DFM, of course. You'll have to learn a bit of the business side. 30 Watt is working very closely with us to try and show us what they believe goes into successful products. And so it will be educational in that you will be learning from a real company and a real client of what their demands are. So this will be great because you'll have your instructors to rely on for feedback and working with a real company and actually get to try out and make something. And so we can't give too many details, but there will be cash prizes involved, and you do have a chance of getting your product actually produced by 30 Watt. So we are very excited to roll this out, and more information will be coming shortly. So just because Offsite ends doesn't mean that your relationship to us and kind of the fun things that we do are going to end as well.
So we're very excited about that. We're going to keep you updated. We're most likely going to have a specific event around this competition, and we're going to invite their designers to give you more insights and really give you this brief that we're putting together. So Dom, thank you so much for coming forward and giving us a little bit of information about that collaboration. We're very excited about that. And this is just the beginning of future collaborations to come as we continue to evolve and just make Offsite better every cohort. And it'll benefit all of our students. So yes, the 12 weeks are over. Congratulations. But your personal relationship to our brand is still intact, and we will forever be here for you. I am your #1 fan. If I haven't met you on Zoom or in person, please reach out. My job is to get to know you and making sure that we're doing everything possible to, give you all the resources that you need to succeed. So with that being said, we won't be too far. Obviously, we have our culture and our environment, and where we live is on Slack, so please find us there. But that concludes our commencement, unless you like to hang out. So you are free to, leave this Zoom, but please hang out for about 10 minutes. We'll take a 10-minute break, and then students from cohort number 1 and 2 are going to hang out for about half an hour, and then talk just casually about their experiences and any questions you might have about Offsite. So thank you, everyone. Thank you to all of our speakers. Have a wonderful Friday, and see you next year. Hey, everyone. All right, so we are going to get started with this roundtable. There is a lot of students in this Zoom call from cohort number 1 and 2. And I'm just going to let you guys organically chat and talk about your experiences. And if you are attending this roundtable and you're interested about Offsite, or you have any questions, please feel free to ask them. Now's the time to do that. But I'd love to hear from the current students. If you have any funny stories, if you have any, right now's a good time to embarrass yourself as well. Now's the time to do it. So welcome to the roundtable, and I'm just going to be a fly in the wall and let you all kind of just chat.
Hello. It's so good to see everyone after a week.
Hello. It feels like it's been way longer though.
It feels so long.
I was just thinking to myself on Monday that was the first Monday in 3 months that I got a good night's sleep and that I slept at a reasonable hour. And I was still sad about it. I was like, no, I want classes again. And it hadn't even been a week and I was missing it already. So thank you. Thank you for making me feel that way.
It's weird how like nostalgic this already feels.
Oh yeah.
Oh, no. Like it's like, oh my gosh, like Katie, I'm hearing your voice.
Feels very nostalgic. Very nostalgic.
It's only been a week. Oh my gosh.
I was like watching the records again. Because like I want to like rewatch some skills before I, do some steps. And then I thought I was having the class. So I was looking for the chat button so that I can talk. And then I realized, okay, that's a record. And that's when I get really sad.
I might have a question for like alumni or instructors, because it very much so feels like, what now? As bad as that may be, but I know I need to take a break or whatever, but it still feels a little uncertain. But so like Josh and Rebecca's like speech helps reassure me, but I just wonder what now and what can we do towards it. I guess we have the skills to do it, but yeah, I guess we just have to do it.
I think I can answer that, and I'm sure there's other instructors and mentors in this channel that can also answer that. But what now? Good luck, everyone. Like, tell us how it goes. No, I'm just kidding. Honestly, just to give you an example of what past cohorts have done, a lot of students kind of take it upon themselves to go whatever your next goal is, whether it be an internship or you went back to school for this academic year, or you're looking to get promoted or whatever it is. I think you need to have some type of strategy. What happens next, right? So obviously after this, take a break, take a mental break, but have some type of strategy of what you need to do next, and so that you can come back with that to us and we can help you, whether that be, okay, I'm looking for an intern or I'm looking for an entry-level position, and you come to us and we help you achieve that, get your foot in the door, connect you to the designers that are in our network so that we can help you get to that next level that you're trying to chase. So I think that's what happens next. You need to, I think, figure out what you want to do, what's next for, you know, Joanna, and what's next for all the other students here. What do you need to do? Who do you need to speak to? What are the companies that I'm interested in? What are the you know, different design industries I'm interested in? Because industrial design, you know, is huge, right? So there's a lot of, like, you know, subcategories. So when you come back and you talk to us, talk to the instructors, you know, we're going to want to see your portfolio. We're going to want to get to know about what you want to do next, because the more that we know, the better that we can help you. And then get ready to face just honesty. You know, if you need to fix your portfolio, if you need to do X, Y, and Z, get ready for that. You know, because yes, you are an Offsite alumni and you went through our program, but also remember that it takes years for all of us to build these trustworthy relationships with professionals in industry. And if we're going to recommend you, we want to make sure that we recommend, you know, when you're ready and not when you're, you know, premature, you know, just trying to, you know, chase something. Because, you know, if you see an opportunity that's available, let's say tomorrow, obviously, if you're not ready, don't rush it. That opportunity will become available again and again. So I think that's, from my perspective, that's what happens next. I've been able to help a lot of students, alumni, either connecting them to other instructors or connecting them to other professionals. And then if you have a very strong relationship with your mentors, you know, obviously your Offsite relationship with them ends now, but reach out to them and say, you know, thank them for their time, tell them that you're grateful, and then feel them out, see if it's okay for you to continue that relationship, and see where that takes you, because they are also very well connected and know a bunch of people. So it would be valuable to chase that as well. So I hope that answered that question. I don't know if there's anyone else. There's a lot of alumni on this channel as well. There's instructors. So I hope that they can give you other opinions and insights on this as well.
Yeah, I think just to continue what Hector was saying, I think just kind of, reflecting on what you kind of have done in the past, 12 weeks. I found that writing has been really helpful for getting some of those thoughts out, instead of just like, this like bulleted like to-do list, portfolio this next. It's just like how do you feel? What do you feel after, these 12 weeks? What did you learn? How did you grow? Who did you meet? Were there any major turning points? I know for me with Offsite, it was very much like halfway through, my mentor kind of really kind of shocked me with certain kind of like feedback and advice, and that was like very instrumental to what I'm doing now. So I guess my kind of recommendation would just to be reflect on those kind of like on your time during Offsite. Obviously take a break, but I think just take a week or so just to refocus and know, okay, what's the next step now? You have a lot of tools at your disposal. Now, after kind of like hearing about the process from all the instructors, and yeah, I think it's go time. And I think everyone in the Slack, all the alumni, all the mentors, and I think everyone's in full support of you. So don't be a stranger, and then feel free to reach out to any of them.
I don't know if my mic's working today. I think that's a very good point, both from Hector, thank you, and Chris, thank you as well. It's a really good point, is you want to know where you're coming from. So if you had any project to pick tomorrow that you wanted to work on, irrelevant of pay, irrelevant of cost, and that's the one that you would definitely put your time into, don't just think about what the project is and how you would do it. Think about why. Is it the people that it interacts with? Is it the field that it's in? Is it because the materials that are used, or because you really like looking up sustainable materials, or manufacturing? There's a lot of opportunities to pursue, and you got to know where you're going with it. But once you're able to reflect on that, I do think if anyone here, or I suppose everyone here, has the opportunity to cycle back into the LinkedIn workshop, or to explore apps like LinkedIn and Instagram, and see how you advertise yourself and who you connect with. These platforms are in place to help you better represent who you are, and at the very least represent your skill sets. So once you know where you want to go, or even parallel to that, make sure you have, if you want to do it all on LinkedIn, make sure your LinkedIn's updated, profile picture, put in that you graduated Offsite, put in the little graphics on your profile picture that says Offsite. That's something you've earned and should be proud of. And it's also a key identifier for people hiring and looking through accounts. You can't score without a goal. Absolutely, yeah. If you don't know where you're going, it feels like you're running. And that's where, myself included, a lot of people felt like before they came into Offsite, just kind of treading water and staying afloat. But now that you have the skill sets to recognize what you're good at and what you enjoy doing the most, look at fields that emphasize that. Whether it be, again, whether it's career driven of consumer electronics, or if you're the best illustrator out there and that's what you want to do for a career, maybe you find a agency that has illustration in it. You find, based on the brandings from Kat's class, or the understandings you have from Michael's class, the organization structures, lean back on everything you've learned here and use that, apply it moving forward when you start making these choices, because these are all experiences that we can build upon and look forward to using as we move on throughout our careers. And lean on each other. If you don't know what you're good at, ask a classmate, what do they remember you for? What was the skill set that made you stand out? And maybe you don't even see it yourself, but that's your strength. So yeah, congrats to everyone again on that.
Hi,
Yeah,
everyone.
I think you can go ahead. Okay, great.
Oh, thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Amelia. I am interested in applying for Offsite next year. So I just wanted to ask you guys, what are some things that you would recommend that I do in order to prepare for applying? And I'll also say that my background is in graphic design. I've been doing like print and branding for the last 10 years.
Would you be applying for cohort 1 or 2?
1.
1, okay. Are there any cohort 1 students out there? Hello, Lena.
I was in cohort 1, but I actually applied to cohort 2. So, and I was in cohort 2 for about 2 weeks, and I just felt like it was a little bit more advanced than I was prepared for. I was coming from the interior design space, and I had never, I'd never really worked in industrial design. And so it felt like I was a little bit in over my head, and I realized that cohort 1 existed, and I was like, oh, I should just kind of downgrade to cohort 1. But in terms of my application, I basically had a compilation of everything that I had worked on in the past, which was some interior design projects, some graphic design projects, and some were like architecture related projects. And I remember when I was applying, I can't remember who had put it together, but there was some blog post. Maybe someone from the first cohort knows who I'm talking about. I want to say maybe it was Wyatt. Yes, Tristan just posted it. But I remember looking at his blog, and he gives tips on what to do when you're applying to cohort 2. And I think it's like show sketches, show storytelling, give a little bit of your background. And that was really helpful. And I think I tried to check off all the boxes on that. I don't know, it sounds like other people probably also looked at it because everyone's talking about it in the chat. But in terms of cohort 1, I think they're mostly just looking for like your ability to, your like interest in design, because you don't need a ton of hard skills going into it. And it sounds like if you have 10 years of graphic design experience, you probably would be the perfect fit for cohort 1. I would say it's more difficult to get into cohort 2, just because you need more advanced stuff. But you can ask another question. Feel free to unmute yourself.
I think you basically answered it. I did apply before like the first year. I applied to cohort 2 and I was like, well, maybe I should wait until until I have a little bit more. So I was excited when cohort 1 came out. So I think that is my only question right now. I'm just in the process of learning Rhino. I'm about to start learning that. And yeah, I'm going from there.
I know that it kind of changes every or like there's been changes, slight changes at least every year. Obviously cohort 1 didn't exist a year ago, but the CAD class that they do teach in cohort 1 is Fusion. If that like changes whether or not you'd want to jump into Rhino versus Fusion, there's obviously a lot of overlap between any CAD software. But that's just like a very small thing, but it sounds like you are very much on track, and I would definitely recommend looking at Wyatt's blog post just because it's cool, and reaching out to other students to ask about their experience as well. I'm sure that tons of people here would be willing to chat one-on-one if you had more questions to ask them.
Okay.
Offsite.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm also Amelia. I just wanted to jump on what Lena was saying. Like, I had a marketing background, like brand and acquisition marketing, from an art company, and like had done some human-centered design projects in college, and I had a website, but it didn't have really any examples of what was like what I learned in cohort 1. I felt like cohort 1 was like a really good introduction to just the basic principles of industrial design, and it's a lot of work. So I think if you want to like do every single thing fully, it just takes a lot of time. But I think especially for cohort 1, I felt like they were really open to people learning skills throughout the process, and that's what it was for. So I wouldn't feel intimidated in terms of like what you know going into it. Just show that you're a creative person, which I'm sure that you are. And yeah.
Thank you. Honestly, I don't want to take up too much time, but it made me think of something else. Whether you're in cohort 1 or 2, how did you guys balance? Because right now I stepped away from my corporate job. So how did you guys balance working and doing offsite at the same time?
It was so much fun.
I don't believe you.
Everyone's just like, oh god, it's a lot.
I couldn't do it. It was, yeah.
There's a variety of us that had the
We're all like, oh, yes, right. We were doing
the classes are recorded. There's ways to come back to them. A lot of the instructors are very open to communication outside of classes. Some of them less than others, with no disrespect. They have schedules as well, so you can book time slots and contact via Slack and whatnot. There's different methods. I leaned back on methods I had for college, where every class had a binder and a spiral notebook just to keep physically organized. Some people took digital notes, which if that's your thing, go for that. But it's a lot of time management down to like the grid of it.
Okay.
Yeah, so I worked full. It's also, you're in the States, right? So
yeah, I'm in Atlanta.
Okay, okay. It might be difficult if you're working and international as well. That's like ultimate challenge. But yeah, I listened to a lot. I tried to attend the lectures. I work office hours, so I would not be able to voice in for most of the classes that were happening through the day. And I just tried to, participate as much as I can in general. It's totally manageable. You can do it, and you can also pick and choose what you want to do. And also the classes give you tools in order to not make shortcuts, but to be efficient about doing things. So you don't have to model everything. You can just get a model, for example, right? But so it's like you kind of pick and choose, and you know your abilities and know what boundaries when you come in, you should know like what you want to get out of it and set up those boundaries for yourself. I think that's important, because if you can get really burnt out really quickly if you try to do everything. So just like take care of yourself, and like also your classmates would probably be there to help you out when you don't understand something, or if you miss something, or if you fall asleep during a lecture ends at 11 o'clock at night, then you have the recording to lean on and your classmates who hopefully were awake to help you out. So in studio, there's like a studio Zoom link that's like open class, and we hop in between classes or after, and we look at each other's stuff. So you have like the support that you need, and to help you not feel as overwhelmed.
And just to add one thing to what Joanna mentioned is, if you don't know exactly what you want to do with the skills, I think that's okay as well. I don't think you have to know exactly. I think you should, like, the first few weeks with Offsite, just seeing what classes you really kind of connect with, and you'll kind of be able to prioritize. Still being able to attend as many classes as you can, but maybe put more work into certain classes. And it is a lot to demand. And also, kind of like having this like mentorship and such was really helpful for being able to just you kind of manage that kind of time and know where to prioritize some of your efforts, instead of just trying to do everything and doing an okay job, but like doing a few things but doing them really well. But I don't think you should, if you want to learn Rhino, I think there's a lot of great resources out there. I posted a link earlier in the chat of a course that I know a few other people from the previous cohort have taken. But I think you're in a really great position. I think just keep exploring with that. And I think you'll be a wonderful cohort 1 student. So
I just want to add to what Joanna said, that when you start the course, every day you would feel like attending the class. You'll be excited every day that I'm going to learn so much today, and you will make time automatically. Eventually start making time for that, because it's a great source of learning. And I think that will help maintain your work-life balance or job and everything. That excitement, that spark will make you have time for this course.
Also, the last cohort, I was you 6 months ago, coming in after graduation and asking the old Offsite students questions, and they told me advice that I took and glad I did. And they said that if you don't do any of the work, that's completely fine. Make sure you make time for the networking, make connections and meet people, show up, be in class, have your video on if you can, things like that. And just being present alone is gonna be so amazing. And when you leave, you have all of this community that you can lean on, depending on which direction you want to go in the future. And you can always go back and learn. You can always go back and watch the classes, but you can't always go back and make all those connections fresh.
Thank you. Y'all are amazing. Thank you.
Last note there was I know, like, a lot of saying why, what do you learn with it, where can you go from there, but recognizing why you want to come involved and be involved in the network is really important too, because it's 12 weeks and it's 12 weeks of work. Even just showing up it can be a challenge. I know around week 10 everybody's energy was fluctuating, but remembering whether it's because you wanted to pivot to physical product design, or you wanted to use this to pivot to a consumer research, whatever it may be, remembering what makes you want to step into this really helps you power through it if you start to feel like it's a lot of work. And it's not, it's as much work as you, it's like the college professors always said, like, it's as much work as you put into it. Well, it's that like times 1,000, because again, it's not graded. It's, if you show up, if you network, like David said, if you just watch the videos, if you show up to be involved, you'll get that back. If you sign up and then forget to do it and don't hop on the videos at night, that's your level of commitment, and that's what you'll receive out of it. So as long as you know why you want to come into this, you recognize this is an opportunity you want to pursue, you'll absolutely get something out of it. In case you're sitting there questioning, like, what level do I want, or and it's being on the front end of it and the back end, it's 1,000% worth it being involved in this and getting to know people.
I was just going to add on to that, Paul. It can feel like a little strange initially because you're like, oh, this is all online. How can you build like meaningful relationships? And then you hop into the studio call with everyone and it feels so natural, and you do come out of it with really strong relationships and, you know, group chats and just kind of wanting to spend time with each other outside of just the virtual class. So the relationships you make and kind of the connections are more than just professional connections. They're the kind of people you want critiquing your work, but also, you know, chatting about some of the frustrations you're going through or anything like that. They're really genuine relationships and bigger than just professional network as well.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Like, I feel like the thing that I feeling more grateful, it's like I made so many friends in Offsite. Not like how many things that I learned. I mean, that is grateful also, but the most important thing is I make a lot of good friends, like who willing to help me out in my life and in every aspect. And like I am still like even the offsites in, but I still like connect a lot of students and instructors after it, and people are very willing to reach out to you. Like I feel like honestly people are not doing this for money, like they helping you out and sincerely, and I got like really grateful for that. Yeah, that's how I feel about offsite.
I think that's absolutely right. Even before I joined Offsite, the community, like the alumni was so open to telling us, like to helping us out. They didn't even know us personally, but I feel like just being a part of the Offsite community makes you so giving. And even like it was months before our Offsite began, but I was reaching out to alumni, and some I knew personally and some I'd never met before. And regardless, they were so helpful right from the start. And once I got into Offsite, it's like the warmth just multiplied. And everyone in class has just been so warm. It's been such a lovely community to be a part of. And I feel like regardless of which cohort you're a part of, when you end up joining Offsite, I think it'll be the same. And then you just have access to more and more and more people who are willing to help you out no matter what. So that's great.
Also speak of like connecting with others after offsite. If you haven't checked out the studio channel, I post like a schedule on having like a proposal of having like sketch time / critique time section. There has like a PDF in there, and the first timing is happening today. Please come if you have any time. Like it's welcoming for every students, instructors, and everyone. And please don't make me be the only one there. I would be so embarrassing. Thank you.
Just if game night's still happening, you can just come into game night. We'll do it tomorrow. We restart tomorrow.
I think there's a big takeaway here from all that too, for anyone on the call waiting on whether or not they should be in offsite, and for those who graduated and got a little distant. The value here is not just the courses, it's the fact that everybody wants to stay connected in one way, shape, or form, whether it's game night for soft networking. Like it's good to see how we're doing with each other and what's going on in life. But also where Betty's setting up, people here are willing to take the initiative to continue to process our work, to continue to refine our craft and lean on each other for that. And that's not something that's going to fade, I don't think, at least from the culture and the people I've interacted with. And that's something to have now, but also like, if you're wondering 10 years down the line, we're still all connected via offsite and that soft networking and everything thereafter. So you'll still have that personal group to be able to lean on to say, as a design colleague, does this idea sound stupid? Or did I make a good sales pitch out of this before I bring it to the client? And a little more professionalism, of course. But yeah, that's, you have the alumni and the support networks that you may or may not find in the university setting, but you really get a better, more personal connection here because of how the cohort system, where everybody has to sit in the same class with one another, though scheduling wise can be a bit abrasive for some. Once you get used to it, you're interacting with the same people for 2 months, for 12 weeks straight. And you start to get to know each other. You start to get to know each other's preference, design styles, and you build more of a connection than just a casual colleague. And I think that's something that's very valuable that I can't emphasize enough, and that you can't really advertise enough until you've been involved to see that.
I was also going to add too that a lot of people in cohort 2 have a lot of industry experience. But for myself, I did not have any industry experience. And I was like, man, am I biting off more than I can chew here? And looking back, I'm so glad I did it, because although it was a lot of growth in a lot of different areas and really fast, I feel so much more confident, and just my anxiety levels about going into the industry and making that transition have significantly gone down. And it's just been such a great community to kind of invest in, and to work with other people to get that feedback, even if you're not, in industry yet, you don't have that full-time position within ID. It's a really great learning experience. And, as someone who's still finishing up their university studies, I think it kind of came at the perfect time for me too.
I think there's so much of Offsite's energy that's so much just about taking a plunge and feeling like having all these doubts of, I don't know if I'm ready yet. I don't know if I'm a good enough designer. I don't know if I'm ready to I don't know if I'm good enough to be able to flex all my skills to all these other people that are really, really talented. But at the end of the day, what you're here for isn't, and I put it in the chat earlier, what you're here for isn't to flex your skills. It's to level up. And it was personally one thing that I struggled with for a while, when I thought I could never apply to Offsite. I could never get into Offsite. Even if I did get in, I would probably be the worst one here. And it took me a while before it took me a couple of weeks before I started to realize, no, everyone's here because they want to learn just as much as I want to learn. And it was all about this people that were just wanting to take this plunge, wanted to do something more with their design careers and really push themselves. Like, I remember I applied to Offsite. I was reading that article that was written by the former Offsite student Wyatt. It's a great article. I was reading through it like, man, I wish I could do Offsite. I could never do Offsite. And then I was reading it, I'm like, why not? So like, what do I really have to lose from submitting this application? And then I got in, and it was an amazing experience. So much of it is about like just taking that plunge and feeling like, yeah, you can do this. And again, it's not necessarily about having the most perfect work or about being the best designer in the room. It's all just about, like, yeah, what Tristan said, just growing together, building a group of friends and fellow designers that you can all have this shared experience with. So you can come out of those 12 weeks with a literally international group of friends and people that can vouch for you and know you very personally, or really as personally as you want them to know you, I guess. But yeah, just having that opportunity and taking that plunge.
Actually, I'm gonna piggyback on that real quick. There was this thing that Kelly mentioned about, because we talked about imposter syndrome at one point, and she mentioned how, like, there's always this prestige thing about getting into a program, especially like this, right? So you'd always think we're the best from those who applied. But the thing that Kelly said in her class was that we're not exactly the best, but we're the hungriest. Because, like, imagine this is summer, right? This is summer. People are like probably going to the beach, taking a break. I mean, there's a pandemic, so please stay home. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they're doing stuff for themselves, which makes sense. But we're here, we're spending 12, 13, well, technically 13 weeks, considering that there's a break, but like, we're spending 12 weeks grinding our asses off, right? And like, for a while, um, you're gonna feel like you're not really improving. You feel like you're kind of stagnating because because you can't really see it when you're in the thick of it. But being around people who kind of help you get better, who kind of give you feedback, who are so willing to help you get better and really believe in you, it's one of those experiences that, like, honestly has been one of the best things for me also. And like, yeah, we are very hungry. You want that buffet? Let's go. And like, considering that after offsite, you get the recordings forever, so you can always go back to it to reference it. Yeah, like, it's recorded, so it's something that you can always go back to. And offsite doesn't end within the 12 weeks. Like, I'm getting really sentimental because like, it's weird not seeing everybody. Like, I woke up, I was like, because I'm in the Philippines, so I'm like 13 hours ahead. So it was like 1 in the morning here, and I'm like, shucks, like, no, I'm not seeing my friends. It's kind of weird. But yeah, like, these things, aside from the lectures, the friendships that you make, like, everyone's been talking about this. But yeah, it's really the networking, the friendships that you make that really stay. So it's one of those things that you really get to look forward to also. So yeah, that's my 2 cents.
I guess we'll just sit here and watch each other because none of us want this to end.
That's a mood, Kini. Actual mood.
All right, I have to jump for a client call. So it's been a pleasure, everyone. For those in question, I strongly recommend joining. And for those alumni and whatnot, I look forward to getting to know you guys better and girls better. Congrats to everyone in cohort 1 and 2, and take care. Good luck with the next steps. Reach out to me, Instagram, LinkedIn, whatever. I'm always on somehow, so be in touch, y'all.
Bye, Paul.
Yeah, everyone as well. Great community.
guys.
Cheers.
Guys.
Stay in touch.
We're gonna miss you.
Yeah, guys, stay in touch.
It's a threat, huh? It's a threat.
Yeah, it's a threat now.
Yes. Please.
Okay, bye. See you.